we'll let some people jump in. Today we're going to be talking about how to wholesale like a pro. Should be good. Should be fun. Give it a couple more minutes. Let some other people jump in. I'll be right back. Hang on. All right, we got some more people on. Getting ready to start here. Size on here.
How's it going?
Good. How's your deadlifts going?
They're getting stronger. Back's doing all right. That last PR thing really sent me back for a few days. But
that's what happens when you try to do a PR on a deadlift, man.
I'm hanging in there though.
That's why I don't do them very often anymore. I'm too old and fragile now.
Yeah, I saw that ad with the rehab manual. Don't want to have you dying laughing. I had to spend a couple of my friends.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of good feedback on some of those ads. It's been kind of fun. Well, cool. Well, we got a few people on here. Let's see, we got Antoine. He's on. We got Ryan's on. We got, let's see here, Crystal's on. And then we have Love 2015. So let's see here. Lou. That's Lou. Okay, got it. I got it. All right.
There's only fans or something.
Well, cool. So, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I got some good stuff to share with you guys today. So make sure you got a notepad. Some of this stuff for some of you guys will be kind of some review stuff. Others, you know, one of the things that about entrepreneurs is we need a reminder service. A lot of times we learn something, then something changes. Our business changes, or we grow, or we end up doing something else for a while. And what happens is we forget about stuff we already knew about. So I like going through some of this stuff because it's a good reminder service in some cases. Got Dave Bader just jumped on. That's good. So I want to go through this stuff, and I want you guys to stop me if you want to ask any questions. We'll ask some stuff at the end. We'll have question time then. But I want to make sure that we get through this. And one of the things too is, like, since I got you guys on here, one thing to remember is I can't predict what the heck's happening with this market, right? I mean, we know that we know that the market's at it's a very hot market. It doesn't matter what person you talk to. If you talk to that person and you say, "How's the thing going in your town?" I always get the same response. Well, Matt, in my area it's unique. You know, it's really hot. It's very competitive, and I don't want to take that away from anybody, but I also want to remind everybody, like, that's every market. Like, that's just everywhere right now. It's competitive out there. And I want to remind you guys of a story. So I started investing in 2005. Now, some of you guys, some of you youngins, 2005 was a long time ago, and you weren't doing real estate back then. And so for me, that was when I got into real estate in 2005. That was the only real estate I had ever done. I'd never even bought a house for myself before. So when I didn't know in 2005, I didn't know it was the hottest market, the hottest real estate market since the beginning of time. Even now, even as competitive as it is now, it wasn't as competitive as it was in 2005. And I remember it being 2005, and I remember doing deals. I'm a brand new investor. I'm hustling. I'm working it, but I'm doing deals. And I remember everybody's complaining about it being so competitive, and I'm over here brand new, hustling, grinding, and I'm doing deals. And so I want you guys to understand it's competitive right now. It's a tough market. There's, you talk to a seller's like, I got multiple offers. Seller's like, I want more than asking price. I want more than retail price, even though it needs work. Seller, I got 15 postcards in here. The sellers, they know, they get the vibe. They know it's a competitive market, and they know they are at an advantage. Most of them do. So guess what? Here's the thing. You guys can, and I know I'm just speaking to the choir here in this group, because I know you guys aren't thinking this way, but I just want to remind you guys that you are working a muscle right now that you don't even realize you're working, okay? I posted a video, I think it was 2 days ago, on my Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, you should. I'm always trying to share as much stuff as I can, but I posted this video of the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid movie. Did anybody see that on my story on Instagram? I showed the Karate Kid movie where Danielson he just got done waxing the cars. He just got done painting the house. He just got done, painting the fence. He just got done, sanding the floor, sanding the deck. And he's beat. He's been working 4 days straight. He hasn't learned any karate in his mind. And he's beat. He can't move his right arm. It's all busted up and hurt from so many repetitions of working from sun up through dark at night. And all he's done is just all this work, and he doesn't think he's learned any karate. And there's this one pivotal scene in the movie. It's my favorite scene of the movie. It hit me, and I searched for it on YouTube, and I put it on my Instagram. But it's a scene where he's ready to quit. He's throwing in the towel. He's not learning karate. He's out. He tells Miyagi he's done, and Miyagi gets him back there, and he says, "Hey, show me sand the floor." And Danielson doesn't know what he's talking about, so he leans down to go sand the floor. Like, no, get up here. Show me sand the floor standing up. And then there's that pivotal scene when Miyagi throws like 14 punches at Danielson, and he naturally, instinctually blocks every single punch. And that at that moment in time, Danielson realized, whoa, I was learning karate the whole time, and I didn't even realize it. And so I tell you guys that story because in 2005, I was just busy. I was working it. I was doing deals. I was closing houses. I'm brand new. I'm out working everybody. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Half the stuff I'm trying doesn't work. I don't care. I'm working it as hard as I can. I'm working weekends. I'm working nights. I had a routine. I work 60 hours a day or 60 hours a week at my job. I had a routine. As soon as I get home, I don't I'm like a caffeine person. If I drink caffeine after noon, I don't sleep at night. I got home. My routine was this. I get home at 5 o'clock. I make myself a full pot of coffee, and I drink the entire pot because I know if I do that, I won't get tired enough till past midnight. Then I can stay up and work, and I would work until midnight until finally I just get exhausted. I'd fall asleep. I'd get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be the first one to work at a job, not my company. I did this for 3 years. And guess what? I prepared myself. I was doing deals. It was competitive. It was crazy. Cash didn't mean anything back then. You didn't have to have cash to buy a house. You go to a bank and you say, I make $1 million. They don't even do a credit check. They give you the money. That's how competitive it was back then. And guess what? I did that for 3 years. And in 2008, the opportunity of a lifetime hit. In November 7th, 2008, I called my boss. I said, I'm never coming back. I'm doing real estate full time. I had done about 30 deals or so in the last 3 years. Prior to that, 30, 35, something in that range. And guess what? It got real easy in 2008. It was a layup. It was easy. The market crashed. It was the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. And all that weightlifting I did, as an analogy, I was working hard. I was working hard. I was building this muscle in here, learning how to do real estate in the toughest environment since the beginning of time in real estate. And I prepared myself. 2008 showed up. I was given a gift. I left my job. And in the next 5 years, my portfolio went from 30 houses to 450 houses. And I had millions in the bank in cash. And I did that because I worked it hard in a time when everybody else said, it's tough. It's hard right now. Sellers won't take my offer. People are paying too much. Wholesalers are paying too much. Seller wants more than it's worth. And I just worked it. And that gave me the strength and knowledge to when the market crashed, I took advantage and made enough money that I still getting paid from those deals. So if you get frustrated and you know it's tough right now, dig in your heels, because right now you are preparing yourself. You're getting stronger. I'm telling you, I don't know when the market's going to crash next. I'm telling you, it's going to happen sometime. And you can take this time and feel like you're getting beat up, or you can take this time and dig in your heels and get ready to crush it. I'm telling you, in 1 year, you can make more money than you ever thought possible. I have a saying that I always remind people. You can accomplish more in 1 year. One good year erases all past failures. Okay? That's what, I don't know when we're going to hit that. Could be next week, could be 6 months, could be 5 years. Dig in your heels. Enjoy the battle that you're going through right now. Enjoy that battle and get ready to take advantage of the greatest opportunity probably we'll ever see. Every good run up in real estate is always has a fall afterwards. So power through it and make it happen. Get up every day, play. I had this, we talk about Karate Kid. I love that movie. I had this routine. Two songs I would only ever listen to pump me up. One was the main song in the Karate Kid called You're the Best. I literally played that over and over and over again. I had a cassette tape. That was what I had to play it in. This is a long time ago. And the Eye of the Tiger. I listened to those two songs all the time, and it got me pumped. So if you need to do that when you wake up in the morning to get you excited, do whatever you got to do, but enjoy the battle. A good sailor's never made on calm seas. Take this time where it's tough and get tougher and watch what happens when it gets easier. 2008 was a joke. People were going bankrupt, and my marketing worked so good because I had so many leads coming in, because I had to get really, really good at marketing in 2005, 6, and 7, and your marketing barely would work back then. Your response rates were terrible. Your marketing barely worked. Everybody was buying houses, but that same effort in 08 was a joke. I had more leads than I could handle. I was turning people away, buying houses at 10 cents on the dollar, 20 cents on the dollar. It was amazing. So that's what's happening right now. That's the opportunity. One good year can erase all past failures, and it's coming. So be ready. So I wanted to start with that, and let's jump in. Okay. So how to wholesale like a pro. First of all, marketing. If you want to be a full-time wholesaler and make real money, people always ask me, how much money can you make in wholesaling? Now, I'll never talk about money in any paid ads I'm doing, any promotions I'm doing. You won't see me really talk about it even in email marketing. but I'm on a small group right now, and I'll just tell you, making $100,000 a year in wholesaling is a joke. That is one deal a month making $8,000. That's easy. That is easy to do. So you got to figure out how much money you want to make and back that into how many deals you need to do. You can, and don't, here's where people mess it up. They mess it up because they try to make too much money. They watch too much internet. They see people on Instagram flashing $20,000, $50,000 checks. I'm telling you, you're only seeing a highlight reel. Yes, you can make those checks. I made $164,000 this year on one wholesale deal. I made lots and lots of six-figure wholesales, but you want to know what my average one is? My average one's like $4,000 to $7,000. Last week I did 2 wholesale deals. One paid 4, one paid 7. This week so far I've done one, paid $7,500. That's it. It's not super exciting, but guess what? You stack a bunch of those up and all of a sudden you got real money coming in. So don't get greedy and get a house and mark up the price too high where it doesn't sell. Get the thing sold, especially if you've never done a deal. If you're brand new and you're starting and you've only done 1 or 2 deals or not any deals, you've got to make the deal so enticing that people are literally punching, like throwing punches at each other to get your deal. Like that's how cheap it needs to be. You got to make it super cheap and people will fight over that deal. So if you try to make $20,000 or $50,000 on these wholesale deals, it's not going to happen. Yes, you will hit some of those home runs, but you've got to get some momentum first. So make sure you're not passing up on deals. Man, I tell you, I see investors all the time stepping over deals that I'd make $3 or $4 grand on, sending an email or a text message. Are you kidding me? That's a joke, being able to send a text message or an email and make $4,000. I mean, I have a very, very high net worth and income, and I still will do those deals. Now, I have a team that does them for me now, but still, we don't pass up on that stuff. That's real money. You throw, $30,000, $40,000, $4,000 wholesale deals in the course of a year, you got some serious cash coming in. So don't pass up on those. You'll get volume too. And I'm telling you, there's power in momentum. Okay, so let's talk about these leads. So we need to, there's 2 ways to do marketing. I know, I get it. People are brand new. They don't have a lot of money to spend on marketing. I get that. Guess what? You can still do marketing and not spend a lot of money. But I'm going to jump into the paid marketing first because this is the level you guys need to get to. Paid marketing is going to generate consistency in your business. You're always going to have leads. It just never happens with my company where we send out marketing and we don't get anything back. It just never happens. Okay. So I love direct mail, and I'm telling you, direct mail is making a comeback right now. I see it working better and better. If you're not doing direct mail, you're missing the beat. You're missing deals. There's so many people texting and cold calling, which I'm going to get to. We still do that. We'll do that until it just doesn't make sense anymore. But there's so many people that stopped doing direct mail because texting is sexier. Like, why would I hear so many people, postcards, that's 1980 stuff. We don't do postcards. We do texting. And I tell you, I'm crushing these people because I'm doing direct mail and it works, right? What happens to a text message after about an hour? It's 14 things down and somebody forgets about it. What happens to a postcard when somebody gets it and they're thinking, I might sell someday. I'll put that up on my fridge. They keep it. It's tangible. It's a real thing. Postcards work. If you're not doing it, you're missing out. Now, by the way, Amanda on Friday, I think it is, she's diving deep on the whole direct mail and when to send them and how the routine to send them and the cadence and all that stuff and which cards and everything. So on Friday, make sure you don't miss her training because she's going to dive in deep on that. So real top level view here. I love the Google View postcard. We use that a lot. It works. It's effective. People get a picture of their house on a postcard and they're thinking, what the heck? Why did this guy drive by my house and take a picture of my house? They don't realize that it's a Google View, even though it says it right on the card. They miss that part. The other thing is the third notice postcard always generates leads. Like if you're not running the third notice postcard, you're missing out. You're not my best. So it's neck and neck right now between Google View and my third notice. Those 2 postcards are you know, the response rates are very, very close, but I still think third notice is a little bit higher. And so it works really well. I'm testing right now, guys. I haven't released this yet. Only to the guys in my high level mastermind, my business Black Ops mastermind. It's a really high level mastermind, costs $30,000 a year to be in. And it's not just if you can write the check, you can be in it. You have to prove that you're doing a lot of deals, and it's invite only. But that mastermind, I just released the offer postcard. So because I do a lot of volume, a creator created this postcard that sends an offer. It has an offer right on the postcard, what we want to offer the house. There's this big, long, algorithm that is used at the printer that creates the offer, and it sends the offer. And so people will call you based on the fact that you have an offer. They get 10 postcards. Yours has an offer. They're calling yours. Even if the offer isn't accurate, it's not accurate sometimes. Sometimes it's way too high, sometimes it's way too low, but it gets people to pick up the phone. I'm testing that right now. It's not mainstream yet. You really can't find it. If that's something you guys are interested in, you can contact me, and I'll get you on the list. But I've only opened that up to my high-level mastermind guys right now, and for probably the next 3 or 4 weeks. We're still testing it. We're still the jury's not out on it yet. I need to see what it's going to do. But so far, it's been pretty cool. Been pretty impressive. So be on the lookout for that. Those are postcards. Now, the list that you buy makes a big difference. I know a lot of people like what's the software company that people are buying? PropStream. A lot of people love PropStream, and I don't have anything against PropStream. And from what I can see, PropStream has a lot of great tools. There's a lot of cool stuff involved in there, and I think it's a good system. The problem is their list is not good. And so people are going on the cheap and buying the PropStream list. And I'm not saying you can't get some deals from PropStream's list at all, because you're gonna hit some deals every once in a while, but you're not going to get those leads are so cheap. Everybody's buying them. Everybody's sending mail to them, and cold calling and texting, that it's the response rates are massively low. And so I don't do anything on the PropStream list. I don't mess with it at all. I'll never spend one penny on it because it's not worth it to me. I don't care about my marketing costs. I care about my marketing returns. And I can buy a list for 5 cents and it doesn't return me anything. That means nothing to me. So we buy our list. We have 2 main places. We love Listability, listability.com, and we love exactdata.com. Those lists are great lists. And so when I mail my third notice postcard with the Listability high equity list, I get responses and I get deals. One thing you don't want to go, if you're going to spend money on marketing, do it right. Buy lists that work. And that's what so many times I teach marketing all the time. Marketing is, I never stop marketing in my company. That's the last expense you'd ever skimp on. And it's frustrating because I teach so much about it and I tell everybody where to go to get their lists and everything. And then all of a sudden people call me and they're like, "Matt, my postcard's not working." And I'm like, "Which one?" "Well, Google View, it's just not working." And I'm like, "Really? Because it works great for me. What list are you using?" "Well, I bought the PropStream list." And I'm like, "Hey, stop what you're doing. Go get exact data, run the same card, call me back." A couple weeks later, call me back. "Man, this is amazing. I can't believe all the leads I'm getting." It's that way. I'm telling you guys, 10 out of 10 times, that's what happens. Buy a good list. Okay. Cold calling, something we always do is cold call. Cold calling works. It's not as effective as it used to be. Everybody's doing it, but it still works and it still generates me leads. I get a consistent number of leads every week and I'll keep doing it. I remember too, or one thing I never forget is most people wear out. They don't have marketing stamina. They wear out. "Man, I ran a list. I didn't get what I wanted. I'm out." Okay, great. Because guess what? Now there's more room for me. So you got to have marketing stamina. You got to understand there's going to be ups and downs to this thing. Okay. You're going to have bad weeks. It's going to happen. but guess what? You're also going to have some amazing weeks. And if you stick with it and you get momentum, you're going to crush. You know, I mean, it's just crazy. I was helping a guy do wholesaling. He spent money on marketing for 2.5 months. Didn't do a single deal. 2.5 months. And I'm working with him, trying to help him. Next thing I know, boom, he does 3 deals in a week and a half. That's how it works. Okay. You got to have marketing stamina. So I love cold calling, and you can take the same list you already bought for your direct mail. You don't buy a new list for your cold calling. Use the same exact list. You send them direct mail. You take that list, you skip trace it, and then you send that list through your cold calling system, and then you cold call. And then next is you texting with Sherpa. We use Lead Sherpa. Now texting, you take the same list again. You don't have to buy a new list again. You do the same list and you send them text. Those are the 3 main paid marketing channels that I do. And those work consistently. If they didn't work, 1, I wouldn't be telling you guys about them. And 2, I wouldn't be doing them because I watch every KPI with Podio, and I don't want to waste money. And so I don't do stuff that doesn't work. I've tried, like you see all these Facebook, you know, that the biggest thing now is you got to get on Facebook and do Facebook ads and you get all the sellers. No, it's not. It has not worked. It's not effective. The cost per closed contract is through the roof. It does not work. It hasn't worked well for me. Yes, you're going to get lucky sometimes and do a deal, but I'm telling you, the cost per closed contract, anybody that checks their KPIs, I'm just telling you guys, couldn't you get some deals from Facebook? Yes. But if your cost per closed deal on a Facebook ad is $4,500 and I can close a cost per closed contract on my postcard at $600, guess what? Why would I ever do Facebook marketing? It would make no sense. Can you get deals from it? Yes, but your cost per closed contract will be way higher than if you just do the 3 things I just showed you. Okay, again, we love the high equity list. So you get you can go through and get somebody that's, you know, doesn't owe a lot on their mortgage. They have a lot of equity. Second thing is vacant houses. I love mailing vacant houses, and vacant houses are easier to wholesale. Like there's always an added level of complexity when there's a tenant in the house. You know, I'm dealing with that right now on a house I'm wholesaling. There's a tenant that lives there. They're moving out, but I want to sell the house quickly. I don't want to have to close on it and then resell it later. I want to do it now. I want to wholesale. We want to double close it. So I got to work through the tenant situation, and it's always a little trickier, always adds a little complexity, but we still do it. Just adds more complexity. But I like easy. I'm like the guy that likes the easy route for everything. So I like vacant houses. It works. And you know, when somebody has a vacant house, they're collecting no rent on it. They're living somewhere else, so they're paying for 2. What's the chances that they want to get rid of it? It's high. All right. So that's like the paid marketing I love. We never stop doing any of that. Now, once you have those leads, I can't emphasize this stat enough. 75% of the houses that you get leads on, you will not close first time out. You send the marketing, lead comes in, you answer the phone. I want to sell my house. Hey, this is what I'll offer you. Oh, that's too low. Joe down the street will give me more. Okay, great. I'll follow up with you in 2 weeks. Set your follow-up sequence, and you end up buying that house in 2 months or 3 months or 5 months or 5 years. I've literally had houses 5 years later I closed. Guess what? I paid for the marketing once. I just followed up and I bought the house. Now there's a lot of really bad wholesalers out there that don't know what they're doing. They're not trained well like you guys are, and they're offering too much on the house. Then they're trying to make 50 grand on top of that, and they can't wholesale it. It goes out of contract. Now you got a seller that's all bent out of shape, and they hate wholesalers now. But eventually their motivation level becomes greater than the fact that they hate wholesalers. And if you do follow-ups, you will get those deals. So you lost out on it now because Joe down the street will pay more. But guess what? In 3 months, you get the deal and you can wholesale it, but it takes follow-up. Now, how do you do follow-up? Well, it's tough to do without a CRM. I love Podio. We sell our Podio Powerhouse, and it does the follow-up sequences automatically. But if you don't have some kind of CRM, or unless you're a master at some kind of spreadsheet system, it's tough to go after, old leads. Like, it's really hard. So the CRMs are amazing for that. It makes it super simple, super easy. I love getting wholesale. Like, we get a lot of we buy a lot of houses from other wholesalers, and the wholesaler will send us a lead. And I don't do this a lot anymore, but because I'm not really involved that much on the real estate side of things, because my team runs everything. I work about 5 hours a week in my real estate company right now, but my team will get a lead. What I used to do is a wholesaler would send me a deal, and I'd jump right in the Podio system and see if we ever looked at that house before. And if we had, I could pull up all my pictures from the house. I could pull up the conversations between us and the seller. I could see what we offered on it. I could see what the seller countered. And I'm equipped with some serious information. And now the wholesaler wants to sell it. And like, hey, I offered $42,000 for this 3 years ago, and this wholesaler wants me to buy it for $65,000. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. So at least I have all that information. And then if it doesn't follow through, I can go back to that seller. I already have all their contact. So that, that's what the power of a CRM. It's very, very important. Okay. Next. So the free stuff, the free marketing. You should always be doing free marketing. One, I just mentioned it, wholesalers. For some reason, people, and I've actually heard like these big gurus tell people, I see these, I can spot somebody faking it a mile away because I know what works. And so when I see gurus talk BS, I know that they're not actually doing any deals. But I saw a guru say, "Oh man, you can't do any deals with a wholesaler, because if you could, they would. What do they need you for? Like, they'll find a different buyer." That is so false. So we do a lot of deals with wholesalers, and I get a deal wholesaled to me, and I turn around and wholesale it to somebody else sometimes. You can do back-to-back closings. I think the most I've ever done was 3 or 4 in a row. And I've gotten deals wholesaled to me when I've got multiple contracts I'm dealing with on assignment deals. So you can do deals, and those are free marketing. So another wholesaler spent his money on the marketing, spent his time going and talking to the seller, spent his time negotiating the deal, spent his time getting it under contract. Sometimes they spend their own money on earnest money because they don't know what they're doing. And then they turn around and wholesale it to you. You can pick it up, and you don't have to do any of that. And you can find a buyer to buy it from you. And so we do those deals. And there's a lot of amateur wholesalers right now that are picking up they get lucky. They get lucky, probably like I did in the beginning, because I was working it. And they get a deal under contract. If you're the guy contacting, or gal contacting them, and they know to call you as soon as they get a deal, then you're going to get the first look on that. One of the things that I never passed, this is what I did in the beginning. I never passed a We Buy Houses sign without stopping and calling that number. Okay. Didn't matter how busy I was. Didn't matter if it was in oncoming traffic. Didn't matter if I was already late for an appointment. Didn't matter what the situation. I'd pull back around, and I'd call that phone number on the We Buy Houses. And I always had the same conversation. Hey man, saw that you buy houses. You probably have houses that you're selling. What do you have for sale right now? Oh man, I got a house at 123 Main Street. Okay, great. What's your price on? Let me check it out. Or they say, I don't have anything right now, but I'm working on some stuff. That's the one you hear the most. And I say, hey man, guess what? It's your lucky day. I literally would tell this people, and I'm telling you, I would tell this to people my first year in real estate. I'd say, hey man, this is your lucky day. I'm your guy. You get a deal under contract, you call me. I'll get that thing closed for you. And I got all the leads. I called every bandit sign. If I didn't recognize the number, I called it. And if I did recognize the number, I called them again. Hey man, talked to you a couple weeks ago, saw your sign again. Haven't seen any deals from you. What do you got working? Hey man, I got a deal I'm working on right now. I don't have it under contract, but I'm working on this, this, and this. Okay, give me the numbers. Hey man, that might work. When you get that thing under contract, send it over to me. Maybe I can buy it from you. So those conversations are building relationships, for one, and two, you're funneling all the traffic to you. I'm telling you, I did hundreds of deals from wholesalers my first 3-4 years in the business, hundreds of deals that they come to me and I turn around and wholesale them back. First time I ever tried it, I made $39,000. Wholesaler, brand new wholesaler, gets a house under contract, has no clue as to what he's doing, puts $500 down earnest money. He assigns the contract to me. That means I get his earnest money. He assigns it to me, and then I double closed it to another buyer for the real price it should be, and I made $39,000. That's a great lead. I had nothing invested. I didn't have any time invested. I didn't have any money invested. He didn't get paid until he closed, and he only got 45. I gave him 5,000, but he only got 4,500 because the earnest money came to me. And now I just wholesaled it to somebody else and double closed it in 39,000. And he doesn't even know. He could go back after the transaction closed and find out how much I made, but otherwise he doesn't even know. It's not assignment of contract on my side. So those deals are out there. Though but you have to get those wholesalers and get a lot of them. And if you can't find any, guess what? Start a group where you do get some. Start a group on Facebook for your town and wholesale, investors. We buy houses. If there's already a group, create another one. Have some, but get people in that group and then educate them. Teach them how to go find deals. Teach them driving for dollars. You guys can create your own army of wholesalers. That's what I did. At some point, I got, as the story goes, it's kind of funny. This one wholesaler sold me a ton of houses. And every time he sold me one, I wholesaled it to somebody else and I made money. I mean, I was clipping off $5,000 and $10,000 and $20,000 clips because he was really good at negotiating, really bad at finding buyers. And I just was always in his face and in his ear, and he just sent me the deals. Well, he picked up eventually that I was making a lot of money on him. And he got greedy and thought, okay, I'm just going to raise my price. So every time I would go to buy a house, after I did over 100 of these with him, every time I'd go to buy a house from him, he would give me this really high price that mathematically it would not make sense anymore. And I was just like, hey, man, the price is too high. I'll give you this. I bought 100 houses from you. I put you on the map in the real estate world. Here's what the price. Nope, I'll get more. So what did I do? I started teaching everybody I knew. I went to a real estate investment club and I taught everybody I knew how to wholesale properties. And I mean, I would pack the place. People would be in the hallways and I'm teaching people how to find houses and how to negotiate. And here's the contracts to use. And I would get I created these army of wholesalers all going out, hitting all these people, running bandit signs. In my area, after I started doing this, bandit signs were on every corner by 10. And all of a sudden, I'm getting every one of these deals because I educated them. They're sending me these deals. And the guy that got greedy and raised his price on me, he ended up getting squeezed out. He went out, he literally stopped doing real estate within a couple of years. And so you can create those army of wholesalers for you and get deals. That costs nothing. That's just your time. Teach people how to find real estate deals and then get them to send them to you. Working with wholesalers is key. All right. So other ways you can find deals. Well, there's always Craigslist. You can put ads on Craigslist that we buy houses, cost nothing to do, and you will get leads. And you can also call on for sale by owner ads, people that are selling their house. Now, Craigslist was one of those things that was really like a little secret little place to get deals way back when. And then it got so popular that everybody was hitting up Craigslist to get their deals, and it got hard to get a deal. Well, then Facebook Marketplace came out, and then everybody swarmed over to Facebook Marketplace. And now Craigslist is a place where you can actually get some deals now and then. But you got to be consistent with it. You got to check every single day. The early bird gets the worm when it comes to a Craigslist ad. If you're the first one that calls an ad, when somebody posts a cheap house for sale and you get there first and get it under contract, you get it. And it happens. We still get those. But you got to be consistent. You got to make it part of your daily routine. Or like we do it, we just put it on a virtual assistant and have them do it. So, but that's place you can get deals. The other thing is Zillow. You can buy for sale by owner houses on Zillow. And again, you've got to be the first one that makes the offer. And as soon as it gets listed, you got to be there first. Those cost nothing. If you're in your area and you're not doing, if you're not doing virtual wholesaling, the other thing you can do is you can do driving for dollars. You can just drive neighborhoods You know, every time you go somewhere, drive somewhere neat, go the long way. Go the long way, drive through neighborhoods and see what you can find. See those little for rent signs, call them up. Instead of saying, hey, I see your house for rent, I want to rent it. Instead of that, you say, hey, I see your house is for rent, but I got a question for you. Would you consider selling it? And see if you've got somebody that'll sell it. A lot of times you'll get landlords that are like, man, I just had a tenant destroy the place, or they didn't pay rent for 6 months and I don't want to be in the business anymore. Yeah, I'd consider selling it. The other thing is you'll see the little for sale by owner signs. Those are gold. If you call enough of those, you will get deals. And so that's something that's basically free other than gas, and gas is cheap right now. And then those are the ways, and you can do MLS, but guys, I'm telling you, MLS is tough right now. There's very, very competitive. And to be honest with you and be transparent, you guys, I stopped making MLS offers about 6 weeks ago. I'm going to let it cool down on those. I get enough leads from my paid marketing and my free marketing. I would rather deal with off-market deals. So we're not even making MLS offers. But if you can get a few of them accepted. Now, as soon as the winter hits and things cool off a little bit, we'll jump back into it. But right now, during July and August, September, it's just too competitive and not worth my time more than anything. Of course, we would get deals if we did it hard enough, but I want my resources going on places that I'll be more productive. So then, so here's the next thing, you guys. Here's where the next thing I see people messing up is you got to be able to sort so you've done all this marketing. You got your postcards running, you got cold calling, you got texting, you got Zillow, you got wholesalers sending deals, all this deals coming in. You do it right, you should get overwhelmed with deal flow. You should be overwhelmed. That's if you're doing it right. Now, once you get this deal flow, you got to spin through these things quickly. You got to get rid of the ones that make no sense. Don't waste your time. I see too many people in this market conditions trying to be creative and making deals work. No, don't try to make a bad deal work. It's just a waste of time. Go after the easy stuff. You're going to waste so much time over here on this deal that you got to get creative on when you got 14 other deals passing you by here on this side. So you got to be able to spin through these quick, filter them out, and get rid of the ones that don't make sense. For example, if you got a house worth $100,000 and the seller's asking $95,000 and they owe $95,000, guess what? You're wasting your time. Walk away. Now, same situation, same house, different situation. Got a house worth $100,000, seller owes nothing, asking $95,000. Is that something you spend your time on? Yes. They owe nothing. You can work them down. Of course, everybody wants full price. That's normal right now. Everybody goes on Zillow. Oh, wait, the Zestimate on my house is $95,000. I'm going to ask $95,000. Even though my house is a disaster and needs completely remodeled, Zillow said $95,000. Guess what? It's worth that. We get that every single appointment we go on. It's normal. Your job as a real estate investor is to educate the seller and talk them down. You should bring an iPad to the appointment and have pictures of beautiful houses on the inside. You can get comps in the area of beautiful homes that sold for a really high price, and you get these beautiful pictures, and the seller, you walk in the appointment and the seller says, hey, I want $95,000 because the house across the street sold for that. Mr. Seller, let me pull that house up for you. See these pictures right here? These don't look like your house in a polite way. You got to work. You got shag carpet and red walls here. We got to paint this thing out. We got to do new carpet. We got to put new siding on it. We got a new windows in it. We got to put a new roof. That costs $60,000. All the materials. This is one line that you guys should be using right now. If you bought my MMM method, you'll notice I always use the news to my advantage. And what's the one thing you hear about materials right now? Materials are through the roof, right? You got lumber 2 and 3 times the cost as it was. All these materials are scarce. COVID shut down so many manufacturing facilities. You can't get a freaking refrigerator. And so everything's more expensive. So you can tell the seller, they know this stuff if they're watching the news. You can say, Mr. Seller, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but material prices, COVID forced all these closures of these plants, manufacturing facilities. Nobody can get lumber. Nobody can get supplies. And so cost of materials is doubled. So, Mr. Seller, what I used to pay for 30,000 for this rehab, I now pay 60. That's what's happening right now. And so because of that, I can't offer you the price that you want. I have to make money. This has to be a win-win. Mr. Seller, would you pay $130,000 for a $100,000 house? Well, no, of course not. Well, yeah, I can't do that either. I'm in business. I have to make money, and I'm trying to help you understand what it costs to rehab a house. Those are the conversations that you have to have. That's how you get the price down. Okay, so the other thing is, so you got to sort these things fast, okay? Only work on the deals that make sense. Only work on the deals that the seller can actually get the price down. If the seller can't get the price down, don't waste your time. Move on, get another deal. Sort quickly and then make the offer fast, okay? That's the other thing. I see too many people wasting time. Like they're stuck in analysis paralysis, and they get a deal. They know it's a deal. They get scared or something, and they don't make the offer for 2 days. And in that 2-day period, they just lost the deal. I was just talking to an investor the other day, 2 weeks ago. I got on the phone with him. He's like, here's the deal. I'm like, I looked it up real quick. I've never been to his area. I looked it up real quick, and I'm like, that's a $180,000 house. I can tell you right now, I'm looking at the comps, it's 180. He's like, well, I thought it was about 150. I'm like, no, it's 180. Okay, what should I offer? Go offer him 140. And it took 2 days for him to make the offer. He went to make the offer for 140. Seller said, hey, I just accepted an offer for 140 today. If he had made it 2 days before when I told him to, he'd have had a deal. He probably would have made 15 grand on the wholesale. Tight, skinny deal, but he had buyers for it. He had buyers ready to buy it. So you can't waste time on offers. Get your offers, get them accepted, put your inspection clause in there, 15 days, 14 days, and then you're safe, okay? If it doesn't check out, walk away, back out. No big deal, no harm. It happens every single day. Hell, we have people that go all the way through the escrow period, get down to closing, and their loan gets denied. Or they go out and buy a new bedroom set, and their credit score jumps up a few points, and now they're out of the bank does a credit check right before closing. Now they're no longer qualifying, the deal falls apart. That happens. That's real estate. That's just part of the deal. If you need to back out after 14 days, you haven't hurt anybody. If your seller gives you a hard time about it, say, Mr. Seller, it's the hottest market on the planet. You wanted $40,000 more for this house than I was going to offer you. Why don't you just, if it's that easy, just go sell it to somebody else? That's the conversation. Super simple. So that's part of it. You got to get that going fast. The next thing is you got to get buyers. I'm telling you guys right now, if you're not adding buyers to your buyers list every single day, you are making a mistake. There's new buyers coming on the market all the time. We are not in a position where buyers are making logical decisions, okay? In 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, every buyer I sold to made a logical decision. Mathematically, I can buy this house for this, which creates this mortgage payment, which creates after taxes, insurance, mortgage, maintenance, vacancy. I get X cash flow. Okay, that cash flow gives me this return. Okay, yes, this is a good purchase, Matt. I will take it. That was the logical conversations I had in 2009, 10, 11, 12. In 2020, we don't have those conversations, okay? It doesn't matter. You have buyers that will pay on it. They're emotional. They're not logical. They're emotional. I got to get into real estate before it's too late. Everybody's getting into real estate. I see all these people on the internet getting rich. I got to get into real estate. I don't know how to figure the numbers. This is actually an actual conversation I had. Somebody calls me up. Hey, I want to buy a house. Okay, great. What do you want? Well, I saw you have that house on 123 Main Street. Okay, great. What kind of return are you looking for? Dead quiet on the phone. Return? What do you mean return? Well, what are you looking to make out of? I just want to buy a house, she says. That's it. Okay, no problem. Here's my price. My price just in my mind just went up $10,000, which it did. She paid full price on a house that needed work. She did not care. She wanted a house. Okay, if you're not adding new cash buyers to your list every single day, you're making a mistake. There's new ones coming on every day. There's a lot of buyers buying one house only, two houses only, and then they're out. They've spent their money, they're moving on. So you've got to keep cycling this number. I have a VA, her name's Leslie. She works on the computer right down here. I have a little computer down here. I got one over there they log into, and she adds 40 new cash buyers every single day to my cash buyers list. On Saturday, I sent an email to the cash buyers list she built. I sent an email to a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that I had. I sent an email, and it sold for cash on Monday. I never had a single conversation, and nobody from my team did. This guy just responded, "I'll take it." And so Amanda jumps in, "Well, do you have cash?" "Yeah, cash. I can close in 8 days." That's it. Send an email, sell a house. That buyer came from a list she created. That's it. That's what you got to do. If you're not adding new cash buyers, you're missing it. If you're working with the same people, if some of you guys are on this Zoom and you're working with the same cash buyers you were in 2016, 2017, you are definitely missing out on some real money. Those buyers are logical. They don't overpay. The buyers that you need to find now that just want a house, they pay. They'll pay more. They don't care. I have a friend that's in Michigan. It's always the same routine. Market crashes, market goes up, market crashes, market goes up. He buys a house, he overpays. Doesn't matter. He waits it out. The market eventually, I don't care if it's the next cycle or when, the market eventually goes high enough. He sells the house for a profit, plus it takes him 5 years to rehab it. And then he calls me up and he tells me he's a genius. "I'm a genius, Matt. Just flipped another house, made $40,000. Okay, it took him 5 years. Doesn't matter. In his mind, he's a genius. Okay, I'm not going to argue with him. He doesn't mind overpaying for a house because he knows it's going to take him 5 years to rehab it. That's okay to him. You can't step your logical mind into an emotional buyer's mind. It does not work. They want a house. Okay, get them a house. Stop offering too low. Raise your prices up if you're not getting. The market is speaking to you. If you make 20 offers and all of them are, "Hey, you're too low," the market is speaking to you. Raise your offers until you get some accepted. Then go find new buyers and sell them. If no buyer will take it, go back to the seller. Say, we did our inspection. We need to lower the price. Okay, I can tell you right now, when I go back to the seller and I ask for a $5,000 reduction, 90% of the time I get it. If I ask for a $7,000 reduction, I get it 50% of the time. If I go to 10,000 reduction, I get it about 15 to 20% of the time. And anything beyond that's really tough. But it's easy to get a $5,000 reduction. So you get a house under contract for 150 grand and you find a buyer for 150 that's offering you 150, go back to the seller and negotiate 145. You still make 5 grand. Super simple. So you got to make offers. You got to get buyers. The other thing too is communicating with these buyers. You've got to build relationships. Buyers buy from people. Okay. They want to know you. So one of the things that we do is we go out, not only do we try to find their email address, and we use the website hunter.io to find email addresses. It doesn't work as good if you skip trace with data finder, or if you skip trace with data finder, then it doesn't, they're not accurate on the email addresses, but hunter.io is. So we like to get their email. I want to send an email, sell a house. Send an email, sell a house. But we also like to search for their Facebook accounts, because then if we get their Facebook account, we can get to their messenger. If we send them a message on Facebook, they know it's us, and it's not a blind text from somebody they don't know. That's my next level. That one of the things that I'm working on creating right now, instead of sending people text messages through Sherpa for their house, I want to send them through Facebook Messenger, because their people are more likely to respond if they know who the person really is that's sending them the message. And so, especially if they go on your account and they check you out and all that stuff. And so, if you have your VA go through and try to search for, you don't always get it. It's not 100%. Don't get discouraged if you only find half of them, but add them where you can. And I've sold a lot of houses through Facebook Messenger over the years, tons. In Facebook Messenger, I don't know what it is, but I text my own friends through Facebook Messenger sometimes, even though I have their cell phone. It's just easier sometimes. So, try to find not only their email, but their Facebook Messenger, and then send them messages, introduce yourself. You can even get super creative, and every time a cash sold happens in your area, you can reach out to that person and just say, hey, I just saw you bought 123 Main Street, got a great deal on that house. By the way, I always like to try to figure out an angle that I can do some selling without selling. You can just say, hey, you got a great deal on that house. And then just say something like, hey, what do you think, what's your biggest bottleneck right now when finding deals? And start a conversation with that. And if they say, man, I'm really, it's been tough to find deals because of X, like because of, hey, there's always multiple offer situations and the market's really competitive. You can follow up by saying, hey, man, one of the things I'm really good at is finding deals nobody else can find. I do a ton of marketing and I look for off-market deals. I don't have enough money to buy them all. If I get one of those that I can't close, do you want me to send it to you? And if they say no, which is like 5%, move on, and they're 95%, they're going to say, yes, I want to see your next deal. You can do super simple conversations like that, and you'll get buyers, and they'll close. Another thing I like to do, and I don't know why people volunteer this information, but they do. Every time I talk to a wholesaler, I ask this, and I get the information. I ask them like, hey, man, who's some of the other big wholesalers around here? And they tell me. And I go find the person on Facebook. So you can always be asking. You get more buyers that way. All right. So do you guys have any questions on anything I just covered? Anything? Or did I just do such an amazing job that I covered every possible angle that that you guys might have? No questions? Sai, I see you thinking over there, man.
I'm not gonna look at my face. The reason why I brought that up because I started texting some. I'm trying a different area. I started texting buyers, and one of my hurdles been how to add buyers quickly. And we asked them, hey, we saw that you bought this property over here. Just seeing you looking to buy any more, but like you mentioned, I don't have that connection with them. So it's hard to get response with them, hard to read them. So I'm just writing down some notes about maybe if I can approach them a better way. Like I guess like what you say, asking them, hey, I saw you bought this property. What's your biggest bottleneck? Maybe I should go instead of going direct, asking them.
Yeah, you can say again, you wanna build a relationship, so you can say, hey, like everybody loves a compliment, right?
Mm-hmm.
People love a compliment. Like, hey, man, I saw, if you mention the exact house they bought, like, hey, I see you bought 123 Main Street over there. That was a great deal. Congrats on that. They'll respond, hey, man, thanks. Who are you? Oh, I'm just another wholesaler in the area. Hey, man, I'm just curious. What are some of the bottlenecks you're running into right now? And people will respond, but it's only a certain percentage of them will. Some of them get like they just don't have time, or they don't want to make time, and they just move on. But some will respond, and you just got to try. People love talking about their problems. I found out.
Okay.
So I love hey, man, what's your biggest bottleneck right now? And I find out whatever that is, and I solve that bottleneck for them. And then I've got them. So if they say, man, I need my contractors, I can't get contractors. And I'm like, man, I'm going to find a contractor. I'm going to send him over to this guy. And I'll have my VA find a contractor. Like, hey, man, what kind of contractor are you looking for? Well, I need somebody to put siding on a house. Oh, man, I know somebody for that. I got a contact. Here you go. And if you help somebody in a way like that, you've got their attention. You've just built trust. Now, you never want to send a bad contractor. If the guy does a really bad job, you just ruined it for yourself. But you know what I mean? Like you want to help them wherever you can. If they say, man, my title company sucks, like, hey, man, here's who I use. Here's a good one you should try. You always be willing to help and expect nothing in return. Like, literally don't go into the conversation like, man, how can I get this guy? Like, literally just go in looking to help. I find that if I'm not looking for anything out of the deal, and I'm just like, man, how can I add value to this guy? I'm going to just try to help him. And I do. That's the people that I do the most business with every time. So any other questions? Anybody have anything? Was this good? Did you guys like this? Did you learn something? Was it good? Like, okay.
I
I've
do
got
have
some
one.
questions.
You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Who is that?
Oh yeah, this is Ryan. Yeah, how
Oh,
you
hey,
doing, Matt?
Ryan.
Um, uh, okay. How would you have your acquisitions manager help on the finding buyers? And in helping out with dispositions.
I don't. I don't cross the line between acquisitions and dispositions because
Okay.
here's why. Because all of a sudden the acquisitions guys figures out who's buying and he figures out what things are selling for, and so it's just crossing that line where, hey, I don't need Ryan anymore. I can just do these deals myself.
Okay. Let me ask you this. We have we have a step-by-step process to figure out, what we can offer on a flip.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a wholesale, it's a little bit more nuanced. I mean, it just completely depends on the buyer.
Yep.
Some buyers would pay 65 for a house and others would pay 40.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
I mean, I've been doing this long enough to, like, I know my market, I know my buyers.
That's the problem. You
How
don't
do I
want.
get what's in my head, or like what, how, do we just get these properties under contract and
Yeah, so you got to find new buyers. When you say
yeah,
I know my buyers, that's bad
yeah,
because your buyers, you probably been working with them for a really long time, and you know what they'll pay, and what they'll pay is not what you need to sell it for.
gotcha.
So I would do this, guys. Like I'm not wholesaling houses, and I don't wholesale any houses where I mention rehab. I stopped doing that. I don't mention rehab numbers at all. I literally say, here's the house. I stopped mentioning rehab because guess what? I don't
Because
know
it's
what their
not a
scope of
logical
work
buyer.
is. Yeah, I don't know what their scope of
Yeah.
work is. I had a buyer on a house that would be 35,000 for me to rehab. Say, man, I can get in here. I don't do much of these houses. I'm just going to rent this thing out. I'm going to put $5,000 into this thing. I don't mention rehab at all.
When that type of buyer does their due diligence, the emotional type of buyer, what does that usually entail? Just walking through the property?
They'll look at the pictures first. Emotional buyers love pictures. They'll look at the pictures, and then some of them, only a small percentage will want to actually walk the property. If it's vacant, that's easy. You get a lockbox put on it.
But if it's already rented, they'll just go ahead and buy it. No inspection.
No, you got to walk somebody through it. You got to walk through. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, unless they're a really big buyer and they've just bought a lot of houses. That's not
Mhm.
you who you're working with right now, right?
Okay.
The big buyers aren't paying like what we need to sell for.
Do you make them put up non-refundable earnest money?
If I don't know them and I've never worked with them, yes.
Gotcha.
If I know them really well and I know that they close, like one of the guys that I sold one to last week, I just know the guy really well, and I don't make him put up like I
I
think
don't
he
make
offers.
any of my, when I say my buyers, same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
you'll get to
I
know
know them. I
people.
know they close.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you can
most of the
also.
buyers, it's like we'll pick up off the cash buyers list, so I know they've already closed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you can smell you when you're just asking them what type of due diligence you need to do. Can you provide? Do you have cash? You can provide proof of funds and everything. I mean,
Yeah,
you
we
can
always
smell
ask.
if they're
We ask them.
if they
Yeah, we ask them
yes.
for proof of funds. We ask them for proof of
Yeah.
funds and stuff. What Ryan? So one thing I would do if I was you is
Mhm.
you know what houses you like to do for fix and flips, and you don't wholesale those. Those are your own. On
Correct.
the ones that everything else that comes through the pipeline, don't even look at rehab anymore. Don't look at the rehab
Gotcha.
now. Here it is. And here's the thing, guys. You just got to get it out there. You got to put it on Facebook. Like, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram and Facebook and watch my stuff, but did you guys see the Michigan houses I put up? And did you see some of the other stuff I posted? All that
Yeah.
stuff sold. It all sold. I close on a house. I got a house that I paid $10,000 for in 2011 in Detroit, Michigan. It's worth $124,000 now. I've rented it out for years. I don't know nothing about that up there. I posted on my Facebook for $85,000 2 weeks ago, and I'm closing Monday for 80 grand. Okay, to a buyer I never met. And the person on Facebook reaches out to me and says, "Hey man, I don't want to buy this house, but I know somebody who does." Connected me, no cost, no fee. Lady comes in, walks the house. "Hey, you wanted 85, I'll give you 75. I said, "Give me 80. Boom, done." Social media, Facebook, buyer I never even knew. Get the stuff out there. Send emails, get these houses out there, put them on your Facebook, get them out there. Like Ryan, your rehabs are beautiful, and that's awesome that you're doing that, because you're gonna get investors for that. But you need to take a piece of crap house that you have under contract right now and post it on social media and find a buyer for it. Watch what happens.
Yeah. I haven't, we haven't been locking up a lot of properties. What do you do when you get a property on the MLS? Because I've got two right next to each other that I'm about to offer with directly with a listing agent, and the numbers work.
I've wholesaled a lot of properties off the MLS, but I'm not currently buying many. You add another layer of complexity, right? Now you're dealing with real estate agents, but you can still do it.
The numbers work. I mean, I did it recently. It was with a buyer that I knew, and I told them, hey, this is on the MLS. I mean, we just got a sweet deal.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask like 150, but if you're interested, I'll take 115, and we made 15 grand.
There you go.
But like, I knew the buyer. I've done tons of deals with him, so it was easy for me to I sent him that email. He's like, I'm interested, let me run some quick numbers. We talked and it was done.
2 things, Ryan. Get a house up on Facebook as soon as you can for sale.
Okay.
I don't care if it's the duplex that you told me about that you've had for a while. Put it up there. Get something up there that gets people to respond to you. Ryan, what do you got? The second thing is, go back to all your leads. You've got Podio. Go back to all your leads in there and drop a message to every single lead that you have and get activity and get a deal.
Okay. If they come back and say, well, why are you offering more? I can get this one for 60, one for 70, and I'll mark them up 10K and then market them.
They don't care.
Then,
they just want to sell.
Yeah. No. I'm talking about the buyers. Like when they say, well, hey, I was looking at this and it's listed.
For the listed properties?
Correct. Yeah.
Just say, I got a good deal on it. I'm willing to sell for this. If you don't like the price, then don't buy it.
Cool.
Principle of least interest.
Makes sense. Last question. Do you refer, or what would you recommend when you kind of refer financing, property management, and contractors? I get people all the time where they're looking for either hard money lenders or bridge financing. They want to do like they want to do, they've got 500K cash, but they want to use bridge financing, and they want to buy like 20 deals, not 5.
Never refer one company. Always refer 2 or more.
Okay.
Because then if that one company goes bad, then they come back on you and say, hey man, it's your fault.
What if, I already know these property management. I don't know a single one that I really like and am comfortable with.
Just that's your conversation then. Hey, here's 3. None of them do things as good as I would do for myself. I don't offer property management, but here's 3. You interview them, you make your best decision.
Cool. And then contractors, how would you do that? Same thing.
Man, buyer beware. These guys have done good for me in the past, but I can't guarantee past performance equals future performance, but they've done good for me. Buyer beware. Here you go.
You wouldn't bother doing a hold harmless clause?
No.
You just basically put that in writing.
Yep.
That way they don't.
You don't even have to put it in writing. You can just say that. You're good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Who had another question? Somebody else?
I had one question. It's an idea that I was thinking about. I've hosted a few deals to like contractors that I've worked with before. They seem to be flush with cash, and they can do the work themselves, so they're usually willing to pay a little bit more. Have you ever decided to market, done anything where you market to a contractors list? Like I know you have the methods you taught in the renovation manual where you add them to Podio, but have you thought about like reversing and saying, hey, are any of y'all buyers are looking to invest in properties? And then
Yeah. What I do, I run an ad every day in Craigslist. My virtual assistant posts an ad every day in Craigslist that basically offers a house, no money down house to a contractor. It's like, hey, do you want to flip a house but don't have any money down? That's like the title. And then inside, hey, if you're a contractor, you want to flip a house and you know how to do the work, but you just don't have the cash to buy it. I'll carry the financing on the house, and then basically a lease option deal. And so you do this ad, and a lot of people respond, and then you can get contractors out of that ad.
Okay.
So what you end up doing is you can find people that potentially will buy, and then you can build relationships with those people that just say, hey, who else do you know that's a contractor that buys houses? You know what I mean? But I'll tell you, Cy, to be honest with you, there are contractors that do flips. I have some that work for me that do their own flips, like one a year, but typically it's not a good source. Usually the contractors do not have a penny. They have enough to get through the week. So that's been my experience anyway. Good?
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Everybody else good?
I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Hi. So I've actually been following you since I think it was Davenport. I came to see you with Dean.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I have been dragging my feet ever since, but now with COVID, my business has basically practically non-existent. So I have the time now to really put it to work. I live in Portland, Oregon, which is on fire in several different ways, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking about going back home, which is way outside Chicago. I grew up outside Chicago. My family now is in Rockford and Belvedere, which is super cheap housing. And I love it out here in Portland, various reasons I want to leave. But is there a difference to you between Portland and like Rockford, Belvedere, as far as how expensive houses are, where to get started? Like my whole family's back there. I could put a team together so quickly.
Are you
if I were
wanting
to do virtual?
Wholesale?
Starting off wholesale.
Yeah.
Wholesale.
So you've got two different markets you're dealing with, like a Rockford type market. You're talking really, really cheap houses.
Right.
Nowhere near as competitive as a market in as Portland would be, right?
Right.
But you can do deals in either one. Now,
right.
You are dealing with a much higher price point in Portland, which
right.
typically means you'll get less deals accepted, but your wholesale fees are higher. So
right.
it takes a little longer to maybe get momentum going. But like in Rockford or Belvedere area, you've got, you could get momentum fairly quickly by just, getting your marketing going and getting stuff going. And you can find buyers for that stuff, but your fees won't be as high. You'll probably be dealing with the same type of fees that I make in Davenport, right? I mean,
right.
You're talking $4,000 to $7,000 probably on average. So, there's a certain level of, in people's minds, most people feel like dealing with the cheaper properties is more doable. But in wholesaling, the price really doesn't matter in terms of you're not putting up any money for the house anyway. But you are dealing with a little bit different level of sophistication between the two cities as well. So I don't know. I mean, that's really your call. You have to decide if you want to move across the country and do that, or you're just going to do it from your house, right? Are you
right.
saying live where you're at?
I mean, I could do both, but
Yeah.
just kind of.
I mean,
probably doesn't really matter.
I think level of difficulty would be a little easier towards Rockford, but you're not going to have
Right.
the level of buyers there. You're not going to have as many buyers. So there's
Right.
pluses and minuses to each one.
Right. Okay.
But you got family there, so that kind of helps a little
Right.
bit, you know.
Right. Exactly.
But
Okay,
the
thank
biggest thing is I would just make a decision and just like don't think about it for the next 3 weeks. Like make a decision and say, this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And then do
Right.
it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else have any questions? Everybody good? All right, guys. Well, good call. I enjoyed it. I'm going to jump off and go eat some dinner. So I'll see you guys later. Amanda's got a good one Friday. Make sure you guys catch that one. All right. I'll see you guys.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
Matt.
man.
Yeah, enjoy your dinner.
Thanks. Bye.